And to details, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi arrived in India on Friday, where he takes part in the G20 summit, which is due to start on Saturday in New Delhi. President el-Sisi's participation in the summit comes upon an invitation by the current G20 chairperson, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in light of the deeply rooted ties binding Egypt and India. Meanwhile, presidential spokesman Councillor Ahmed Fahmy highlighted President el-Sisi's participation in the G20 summit. Fahmy also stressed the depth of the Egyptian-Indian relations, adding that President el-Sisi made a historic visit to India last January, where Egypt was the only invited guest in India's Republic Day. Fahmy also highlighted Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Egypt last July. The presidential spokesman said that the president will address the G20 summit on different topics of concern to developing nations, particularly African ones, where the president will stress the necessity of providing all sorts of support to these nations for achieving sustainable development objectives, as well as facing the repercussions of the global food and energy crisis. He added that President el-Sisi will also call on developed countries to fulfill their pledges in line with international agreements and mechanisms to combat climate change and to enable developing nations to increase their reliance on new and renewable energy resources. On the sidelines of the summit, the president will meet world leaders and international officials to discuss different issues of common concern. Egypt is the guest of honor of the G20 summit. G20 leaders descended on New Delhi on Friday with deep divisions among heavyweight members and Chinese President Xi Jinping's no-show, calling the bloc's relevance into question. The G20 was conceived in the throes of the 2008 financial crisis as a way of managing the global economy. But finding consensus among members has been increasingly difficult in recent years. With several leaders already in New Delhi, hosts India were scrambling for agreement on pressing issues like the Ukraine war, climate and global governance. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has painted the summit as his country's diplomatic coming-of-age evidence of New Delhi's clout and prestige on the global stage. A failure of G20 leaders to agree a joint summit statement, a usually routine diplomatic affair, could be seen as an embarrassment for India and for Modi's claim of uniting developing and richer members. Modi looks set to secure at least one concrete step in that direction, with several leaders expressing support for expanding the bloc into the G21 and including the African Union as a permanent member. The multinational military exercise Bright Star 2023 continued in Egypt with the participation of more than 8,000 fighters from 34 countries. The exercise aims to strengthen military cooperation and build potentials to face common threats and risks, as well as training on atypical combat acts, developing joint work and getting to know the latest international combat systems. The exercise also aims at enhancing the strategic and security ties among the participating countries, exchange expertise and developing the combat techniques among them. Under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the Global Congress on Population, Health and Development concluded its activities in Egypt. Earlier, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi inaugurated the Congress at the new administrative capital. Addressing the Congress, President el-Sisi described it as an important platform, adding that overpopulation is of the biggest challenge facing Egypt. The President stressed the significance of supporting the role of the National Council for Population. President el-Sisi also attended the first session of the Congress, dubbed Population and the Future of Healthcare Challenges and Chances. Under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the Interior Ministry launched the 24th phase of We Are All One initiative. The initiative aims at providing various food and non-food commodities to citizens at low prices. The initiative has hundreds of branches, including key super and hypermarkets nationwide, as well as Interior Ministry's outlets Aman. The Interior Ministry has announced the increase of the super and hypermarkets participating in the initiative. The commodities are sold at a discount of 25 to 60% of its market prices.